In the last 10 years, China has built more undersea tunnels than any other country on the planet. Not just a small tunnel, we are talking about structures that dive hundreds of feet below the ocean, withstand typhoons and massive water pressure, connect two economic powerhouses, and cut travel time from hours to minutes, all while being built in some of the most dangerous seabed conditions you can imagine. And that is just the beginning. Now here is the part that blows people's minds. China is not doing this because it wants to win a race. It is doing this because these undersea tunnels are holding something that could change the way we move goods, connect nations, and control global trade forever. Something that bypasses old routes. Something that cuts costs. Something that the US has spent decades dominating and never thought anyone could challenge. If you are into stories like this, hit a quick like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why China keeps building these tunnels, what they are actually creating, and why whoever masters this first might hold the keys to the future of global trade itself. Let us get into it one step at a time, but never standing still. Most countries that build undersea tunnels just try to dig straight down right away, but China did something different. Back in the early 2000s, they sat down and mapped out a plan that would take over a decade to complete. Not because they were slow, but because they were smart. Every single project was designed to teach them something they would need for the next one. Nothing was wasted, nothing was rushed. The plan had 4 steps. First, map the seabed and study every hidden danger. Second, build small test tunnels to master the technology. Third, build a large-scale cross-sea tunnel that connects major cities. And fourth, create a network of tunnels that spans the entire coastal region. Each step had to work perfectly before they moved on to the next one. Think of it like building a house underwater. You don't lay the foundation before you know the seabed, and you definitely don't open it to traffic before you've tested every seal. The first major test tunnel launched in 2016. It was a small underwater passage near the Pearl River estuary, built to test concrete's resistance to high water pressure and how to keep seawater out. This tunnel didn't make headlines like a giant bridge, but it gave engineers clean, precise data to perfect future projects. No drama, just steady progress. No drama, no fanfare, just slow, steady progress that would lay the groundwork for everything that came after. 3 years later, they built a longer, deeper test tunnel designed to withstand typhoons, storms that destroy bridges and shut down ports. Engineers studied every detail to ensure the next tunnel would be stronger and safer, all while the US paid no attention. These test tunnels didn't get viral videos or media attention, but behind the scenes, they were building a blueprint that would change how the world builds undersea infrastructure, and the US wasn't paying attention. The discovery that shocked the world, in 2024, China made its first real move. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Undersea Tunnel opened to traffic, and it was unlike anything the world had ever seen. For decades, undersea tunnels were small, slow, and built in calm waters, but this one spans 24 kilometers, with 6.7 kilometers underwater, deep enough for the world's largest cargo ships to pass overhead. It cut travel time between Shenzhen and Zhongshan from 2 hours to just 30 minutes, and it did it while withstanding 90 tons of water pressure per square meter. That's like having 10 adults standing on your chest, non-stop, and never feeling a thing. On top of that, the tunnel's concrete tubes were built to be completely waterproof, so tight that not a single drop of seawater seeps in, even after years of use. For decades, everything the world knew about undersea tunnels came from projects in Europe and the US. They built small tunnels in calm seas, took years to complete, and never pushed the limits of what was possible. Textbooks were written, models were built, a whole story was told, and that story, it turned out, was incomplete. China's tunnel didn't just connect 2 cities, it rewrote the rules of what undersea infrastructure could be. It was longer, deeper, stronger, and built faster than any tunnel before it. It was like finding a new way to build a house, faster, cheaper, more durable, in a place everyone said was impossible. What this told the world was enormous. Undersea tunnels don't have to be small, slow, or limited to calm waters. They can be giant, fast, and built in some of the most challenging conditions on Earth. The tunnels we thought we knew were just a tiny piece of the real story, and China was just getting started. So if this first big tunnel was already surprising us, what else could China build? That question didn't stay unanswered for long. Building where no one dared to go, the Yangtze River is one of the world's busiest waterways and one of the most dangerous places to build a tunnel. Strong currents, soft mud, and frequent typhoons. Building here was long thought impossible. Currents push tunnel tubes off course, soft mud collapses tunnels, and high pressure causes disasters with even small cracks. It's like trying to build a house in the middle of a hurricane. You can plan all you want, but the forces of nature are working against you at every step. China solved this in one of the most elegant ways anyone had ever thought of. They built a giant shield machine called Linghang, 148 meters long, 4,000 tons, that dug through soft mud and hard rock, staying on course even in strong currents. Its intelligent system adjusted speed and direction based on seabed conditions, digging for months non-stop to keep the tunnel straight and sealed. Simple in theory, incredibly hard to execute, and China pulled it off. In 2026, the Chongtai Yangtze River Undersea Tunnel is set to open, and it's even more impressive than the Shenzhen-Zhongshan Tunnel. It dives 89 meters below the river, colder, darker, and under more pressure than any undersea tunnel ever built, deeper than a 30-story building, with pressure enough to crush a car. But here's the kicker. This tunnel isn't just for cars. It's for high-speed trains traveling at 350 kilometers per hour, making it the first undersea high-speed rail tunnel in the world that doesn't slow down for the ocean. No other country has ever built a high-speed rail tunnel this deep, this long, or in such dangerous conditions. China didn't just build a tunnel, they built a new standard for what's possible. But here is the thing. As extraordinary as all of that was, it is still not the main event. The real prize China is chasing is a network of tunnels that connects its entire coastal region, and this is what has the US in panic. What the US fears most. For decades, the US has controlled the world's most important shipping lanes. They dictate how goods move from Asia to Europe, how oil is transported across the oceans, and how nations connect through trade. But China's undersea tunnels are changing that. These tunnels are a new way to move goods faster and cheaper, bypassing long, dangerous shipping routes, cutting travel time by days and cost by 20% or more. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Tunnel already connects two major economic hubs, making it easier for factories in Zhongshan to send their products to ports in Shenzhen, and from there to the rest of the world. It's not just a tunnel, it's a shortcut for global trade. China isn't stopping at 2 tunnels. They're planning a coastal network connecting major cities, making China the center of global trade. Now think about what this means for the US. The US relies on controlling shipping lanes for trade dominance. A completed Chinese tunnel network means faster, cheaper trade that bypasses US-controlled routes. The US won't be able to dictate the rules anymore. They won't be able to slow down trade or charge high fees for using their routes. China's tunnels will give the world a new option, one that's faster, cheaper, and more reliable. This is why the US is panicking. It's not about a single tunnel. It's about losing control of the global trade system they've built for decades. China's shield machines, like Linghang, are now the world's best. 20 years ago, they bought them from Germany and Japan. Now they build better ones, sold to countries like France and Italy. Today, China builds its own shield machines, bigger, faster, and more intelligent than anything else on the market. They're so good that countries like France and Italy are buying them to build their own tunnels. These machines dig through mud, rock, and gas pockets, staying on course and sealed, like giant, intelligent worms leaving perfect tunnels. Their next project, an undersea tunnel connecting Hong Kong to the mainland, faster than the current bridge, longer, deeper, and able to handle more cars and high-speed trains. This tunnel won't just connect two places, it will solidify China's position as the center of global trade. It will make it easier for goods to move in and out of Hong Kong, one of the world's busiest ports, and connect it to the rest of China's economic network. And confirming this network is only step one of what comes next, building a trade system that doesn't rely on the US. Finding a way to build tunnels is one thing. Using them to change global trade is another. China is working with Southeast Asian countries to build tunnels, creating a regional trade network that bypasses US-controlled lanes. They're testing automated cargo systems, smart sensors, and renewable energy to make tunnels even more efficient. If these technologies work, then everything changes. Global trade will no longer be controlled by the US. It will be controlled by the country that built the fastest, cheapest, and most reliable way to move goods, the country that built the undersea tunnel network. And once the network is in place, the plan that all of this has been leading toward finally becomes possible, a global trade system led by China. All these projects, test tunnels, major tunnels, shield machines, network plans, lead to one goal: making China the center of global trade. The US has spent decades building its trade empire, but China is building something better, a system that's faster, cheaper, and more inclusive. It's not just about China winning, it's about changing the rules of the game. Dozens of countries have already expressed interest in working with China on undersea tunnel projects. They see the potential, faster trade, lower costs, and a way to break free from US control. This isn't just one country's project, it's a global shift. The US isn't just panicking about a tunnel, it's panicking about losing its place as the world's trade leader. China's undersea tunnels aren't just infrastructure. They're a way to bypass old rules, create new routes, and give the world a better trade option. The US has always thought it was untouchable in global trade, but China is proving them wrong, one tunnel at a time. The world of global trade was never a finished story. It turns out it was only the introduction. China is writing the next chapter, and the US is scared they won't be in it. If this changed how you think about undersea tunnels and global trade, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Turn on notifications because this story is far from over and we will cover every major update as it happens. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. If China's undersea tunnel network is fully built by 2030, do you think it will dethrone the US as the leader in global trade?